Okay, YouTube viewers, I'm back with another video. This time it's about something called uninsured motorist and underinsured motorist coverage. It's probably the most controversial type of insurance out there and the most confusing, because we've got a lot of people who, for whatever reason, are driving around without insurance, or because I think the commercials don't have enough insurance. You know, buy the minimum, buy only what you need, save lots of money. Okay. Actually, you're not probably going to save a whole lot of money by shorting yourself on liability insurance, but you will save some, except if you're in an accident, maybe. And just keep in mind, like I said in other videos, this all varies by state. You're going to have some states that require you to have uninsured motorists and underinsured motorist coverage, or some that don't. And there's another weird permutation on this insurance called UMPD and UIMPD, underinsured motorist property damage coverage, or underinsured motorist property damage coverage. And like I said, this is confusing because UIM generally will cover injury to you in the event that somebody doesn't have insurance or is driving around without enough insurance. But when it comes to damage to your vehicle, generally that will fall back on your collision coverage if you are in a collision with another vehicle. But some states say, oh, well, you can have something called UMPD or UIMPD, which covers your vehicle in the event that somebody else doesn't have enough insurance to pay to fix your Lamborghini or doesn't have any insurance at all. I just took Lamborghini to be facetious because most people don't drive them. However, it is a good example of a car that you probably wouldn't have enough insurance to cover even the bumper on if you hit it and were at fault. Now, what makes this coverage controversial is the fact that a lot of states don't mandate it, and it has to do with how people in those states feel about people driving around without insurance. Some state legislatures have collectively gotten together and decided that for the public good, we need to mandate that anybody owning a auto insurance policy must have coverage for themselves in lieu of other people, or in lieu of people who don't have enough insurance. And that's what they decide for whatever reason. However, there's other legislatures that hear their constituents saying, yeah, I don't want to pay a lot of money for my car insurance, and dang it, those guys are forcing me to pay for somebody else, and what we're doing is basically double insuring everybody out there, and the insurance companies are just screwing us. That's my interpretation of what somebody might say to his legislator. There might be other forms of arguing against it, but nonetheless, it was just an illustration of why this is so controversial. Here's another reason why it's controversial. When you make a claim against your UM or UIM coverage, you are making a claim against your own insurance company as if it were the other person's insurance company. And that means it's going to be what we call an adversarial type of negotiation. Kind of like keep away, except keep away is a bag of money. And some people play pretty rough, depending on which insurance company you're with. Why is this a problem? Well, because of something called negligence and how different states look at it. There's something called contributory negligence and something called comparative negligence, which is a whole ball of wax for another video. But suffice it to say, in some states, if you are partially at fault for an accident, the other person's insurance company can reduce the amount that they pay you by the percentage of fault you were for the accident. A good example of this is an intersection accident. There's no cameras in this incident, in this example. There's no stop signs in this example. Just two people cruising along. They come to intersection, neither one stops, and they collide. Okay, this is never going to happen in reality. There's always going to be some form of witness. Somebody will either have seen the other person slammed on his brakes or not seen the person. There's usually going to be a T-bone accident, and that is going to determine who's in control of the lane at the time and who is at fault, so on and so forth. But nonetheless, all these different factors come into play in determining who is at fault for the accident. And in the event that both insurance companies, claims adjusters, negotiate and decide, oh, well, it's a 50-50, then that means they're going to reduce the amount they pay you by 50%. Okay, that's some states. Some states take a strict look at it and say, just because you were there, that means you were at fault. So therefore, you pay all of your own expenses, or maybe the other person gets to pay all your expenses. Just because it says something in the law doesn't necessarily mean that's the way adjusters are going to interpret it, or it's going to play out in court that way. It's very confusing, convoluted system. So the reason it gets to be a bit of a mess is because you're playing that game against your own insurance company, which is generally supposed to be on your side, defending you against the other party. When you make a claim against your insurance company, they act as if that other party is you, and they can reduce your payment. And that's, people say, well, how is that different from PIP coverage? That's no fault coverage. Why isn't UM or UIM coverage no fault? Well, I don't know, maybe in some states it is. Like I said, every state's different. Some of them say, oh yeah, okay, everything's no fault. We're just gonna, pay everything regardless of who's at fault. Other states say, no, we've got a thing going on here where we're gonna reduce the damages. No, I forgot what the hell I was saying. Anyway, how is that different from PIP coverage? Right. Well, your personal injury protection does pay you in the event you're in a car accident, regardless of fault. So, yeah, say you were dozing off, weren't paying attention, rear-ended somebody, and now you eat your kneecaps. That's a real medical term describing a series of injuries that can happen to your knees and face upon frontal collision, and maybe you don't have an airbag. I don't know. Let's say you're at fault and you hit another car. How's that? And you're afraid to tell your auto insurance company what happened. Don't be, because it doesn't matter if you're at fault or not. They're going to pay. They might cancel you. I don't know, but they're going to have to pay for your damages, pay for your bodily injury damages. Yeah, it is confusing, because why would you have uninsured motorist, underinsured motorist, bodily injury coverage, but not property damage coverage? Well, I don't know. Some states do, some states don't. It all depends. It really does. And if you're going on a long car trip to another state and you have an accident, and now you're talking with your insurance company, yep. Choice of law comes in, and you're going to have those kinds of discussions with your insurance company. And my belief is if you bought the coverage, you've got it regardless of what state you're in. But don't be surprised if you have a claims adjuster who argues otherwise. Just saying, it has happened. And you're going to have to be prepared to argue for yourself. So car accidents are a real pain in the ass. Generally speaking, it's best to have a good insurance company that'll fight for you. Like I said, here again, it does get convoluted, confusing, and a bit controversial when you deal with uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. Gee, I hope that cleared it up for all you guys out there. Take care. This has been Lee, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.